So when did you fall in love with hip hop, bro?
Man, it's a good question. It was, I don't remember the year, I don't remember what age I was, but I was very, very young. And I remember feeling like it was something rebellious about hip hop. You know what I'm saying? At the time, it was like raw. It was, just all the things parents and everybody didn't like, And as a kid, you want to do everything rebellious. And I remember, it was a time when lyricism was big where I'm from, because I was really grew up on a lot of hip hop. People would be surprised because I'm from Texas, but people think that I only listen to like Texas music. I was listening to everything from like Wu-Tang to, Chi Ali to, Cannabis. You know what I'm saying? I remember Cannabis said a line, at 1,000 degrees Celsius and make y'all melt. F my record label, I appear courtesy of myself.
Yes.
I was like, who says that about their record label? Like stuff like that, that rebellious nature of hip hop made me be like, man, I love this,
Yo, I remember that line too.
Yeah.
That was a fly line because I was like, damn. Because I used to read the CDs and all that and see such and such appears courtesy of Atlantic, such and such appears courtesy of, and he was just like, nah, I appear courtesy of myself. I was like, all right, Cannabis, that was fly.
Real aggressive stuff, and the way his name was like structured and
Can I bust and all that?
Yeah, it was a lot of thought put into his whole persona, So I was like,
that's deep, man. So we here, y'all. Crooks Corner, you know what I mean? Season 3, episode 111. I told y'all, brand new location, brand new energy. And when we first started Crooks Corner, we had like a wish list of people that we wanted to be on the show. You know what I'm saying? That we wanted to have conversations with. And this man was high on that list because he's seen it all, the whole game, from dropping undergrounds to mixtapes to Grammys to platinum plaques to standing on stage with 100,000 people singing his songs word for word. You know what I mean? The accomplishments are crazy, and it's just like a crazy ride, and it's far from over because now he's making power moves in tech, making power moves in the investment world. So it's just real dope to have my man Cam here. Y'all help me welcome Chamillionaire. What's up, my brother?
Oh man, Crook.
Yes,
appreciate that, man.
Thanks for coming, man. How's everything?
Man, feeling good, man. Feeling good. The future looks bright,
Does it?
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear. Mixtape Messiah 7. There's a very important song on there. It's important to this question. The song is Internet Thugs Attack. That song right there, when I listen to it, it makes me think of, was this any kind of motivation for the Convos app? Because the Convos app kind of fixes that problem of the internet thugs hiding behind your keyboard.
Yeah, that's a good perceptive thing. So I actually had a crazy relationship with social media the whole time. Like as public figures, people always talk kind of crazy on social. Right. From the time of MySpace, and it was Black Planet before that. It was always like fans or quote unquote fans that would always say crazy stuff because you're a public figure and because they bought something from you or feel like they bought something from you, they feel like they own you or something like that. Right. So, sometimes you get out there and you want to talk to more fans and then people say stuff crazy and some people go above, the bar, the line that they should, go over. So, over the years, I always used to be like pretty aggressive on social. I was like early adopter of MySpace, when everybody had top fives. I was one of the early people that had a big audience, even on Facebook. But then over the years, it started changing because I just over and over those voices of people just with opinions on YouTube and everywhere. It kind of gets to a point where it's like in real life, nobody comes up to you and says this stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But something about not having your face in front of somebody makes you feel very empowered to say some things that you wouldn't say in front of somebody. So I felt like that was a problem. And it was just like when we were trying to build a social app, we were like, you know what, we need to build something that allows you to just have real conversation, because I think truly a lot of influencers, celebrities, they do want to have dialogue, not with everybody in the world, but with the people that they believe are supporters or the people that have real constructive criticism. They want to talk with those people, but the platforms don't allow them to be able to do that in the right way.
Right.
They empower the wrong kind of message. For example, if somebody gets on Twitter and they say something bad to me and I ignore that person, then their friends retweet them. and it gives them power, you know? So
Right.
the product itself is designed in a way that allows them to get a reward for that negative behavior, you know?
So the trolls flourish. on them
Yeah,
platforms.
exactly. I understand why some of them do it. I understand
Yeah.
why they grab the thing and make the meme about you at the, you know, courtside and,
Yeah.
you know, all that type of stuff. But in real life,
Courtside cam, you know what I'm saying?
in real life, they don't never come up to you and say that, you know?
Never,
So it's
never.
like, it's all good. All the other social platforms do that, but I do think there should be something that's trying to at least create a real discourse, a real conversation, because there's a lot that we gain from that. Think about all the years that we've known each other and the type of information we share with each other, the type of conversations, like these conversations that you go through life and you learn so much from other people. We should be sharing that.
Right.
You know, it's not always about informing. Sometimes it's about being entertained. Sometimes it's about laughing. Sometimes it's about crying. But at the end of the day, you gain a lot from that if the conversation and the platform is built for that. So, you know, when I ask people where they go to talk to the person that they want to learn something from, or a domain expert or a celebrity, they always say Twitter. And I'm like, are you really talking to, like, they think they talking to me on Twitter.
Right.
No, you're talking to a status update that I just posted, and you talking at it. I'm probably doing something else, you know, like that's not real conversation. So, you know, just trying to find a way to, you know, do real conversations is what we building with the company Convos. And, you know, crazy enough to think that I could get into the startup world and be a startup founder. You know, I was crazy enough to think I could be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, so
And
we
that
out here.
turned out, you know what I'm saying, I would say fairly well. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. So,
Nah, that shit turned out fabulous. Yeah, man. I mean, I've used the app, you know what I'm saying, obviously, man. You know,
appreciate that. You
had
showing
conversations with E40 on the app, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shouts out to 40 Water, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's real user friendly. It's not hard to maneuver throughout the whole, you know, community. It's really a great app, man. And like, was that like your first big transition into, you know, the tech world, or was that just something like, what made you, I mean, I know what made you do it because you just explained that, but it's like, you know something I don't like? I'm gonna back up. I do not like when people say, this person is an unlikely founder of this company. You know what I'm saying? So I never want to come off like that. You feel me? I just want to know what the jewelry is. But I do expect, when I listen to your lyrics, I understand that your mind state is elevated already. You feel me? So when I see these power moves that you make, I'm not surprised by them, because it's likely, you know what I'm saying, that you would do something like that just being who you are. But the convos, I just wanted to talk about that a little more, because I think it's an important tool. And, you know, what are your plans for the future with the app?
Yeah, good question. So the reason why I ventured into tech is because if you really think about it, when I was in the music industry, I was always looked at as a rapper, but I was still a hybrid. I was somebody that was in front of the stage and rapping, but I also had a little bit of the behind the scenes ability, you know? You know, understanding the contracts, understanding all the boring stuff that everybody doesn't care about, right? And when you get on that side and you start to see the people that are controlling other people's destinies, you can go back to the other side and just be the rapper, or you could be like, you know what? I know I rap, but I'm different than these other people. Somebody got to be on this other side, and that's the side of ownership. That's the side of controlling your own destiny. That's the side of, okay, instead of borrowing it, I'm gonna build it. You know, and I'm one of those people. You know, so when I realized that I had that in me, and I had that confidence, I just never looked back. So people might see me venturing into tech and being like, oh, he's gonna be a founder of a company. But what they forgot is the whole time when I was doing a record label, I didn't have any mentor. I started and was like, I'm about to do a record label. Right? And then I said, I'm gonna launch one of the greatest mixtape series. You know, I did all that. Like, that's the difference. Like, people compare me to other rappers when it comes to, you know, dropping mixtapes. But the difference is there was a lot of times a boss and they were the artists. The whole time, everything you saw distributed, if you saw it in a mixtape store, if you saw it in Denver, Colorado, I put it there. You know what I'm saying? That's a big difference, you know what I'm saying? Because now you're controlling your own destiny. You're controlling the distribution, right? So that, being on that side, it just gave me a little bit more confidence, more power. And, you know, you start looking at a whole nother industry. You start going to tech conferences and seeing all this stuff that people have been doing historically for 20 years and they ain't been telling you about. And all the rappers are just rapping. It's like, wait a second, what's going on over here? And then you start to realize the levels of the money, the levels of the power, the levels of the control. We talking about platforms. Every day we argue about having a voice, right? And somebody can just cut your voice. These people is building a platform that has a voice. So I'm like, you know, I sit there and look at that dynamic and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna get in here and figure out what's going on. When I got in there and I started seeing what's going on, I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. I want to try to do something that's really great. And when you start saying that, you got some homies that'll be like, you know, you thinking kind of big, but you got the rest of them that kind of have seen you accomplish the impossible.
Right.
That'll be like, yeah, let's go do it. We might fail, but let's go do it. So, you know, I got into tech, I started doing investing, and then luckily all the chips just started lining up. I can't even call it. The person I was 7, 8, 10 years ago, when people saw me, I had the braids, I had the do-rag, I had the grill. They still see me and be like, oh, you don't got a grill no more? They still stuck in like whatever year. They don't realize people evolve and move. I'm even shocked that I'm here. But everything just started lining up. My investment started taking off when I first tried, right? Everything in tech started taking off for me, but it's the only difference between me and everybody else is I was bold enough to do it. You know?
So how was there any fear involved when it was time to make those transitions, step into those rooms you never been in before, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things that were foreign to you, you know, the way they were speaking, you know, the status of certain individuals that you had to talk to, and, you know, just a whole new business environment. Was there any fear involved that you had to face and conquer?
Yeah, you always had that. You know, a lot of people suffer from imposter syndrome. You know, like when you in a different world and you there, you don't really realize if you're supposed to be there, you feel out of place. And you know, if you can tell, little people look at you and they'll make little comments like the rapper, you know,
the rapper.
like that's all you are. Like all that type of stuff can kind of break your confidence. But I think unlocking that confidence is super important. And once you get it, you just got to realize that you got value. You know, I'm one of those people that when somebody says something to me that kind of demeans me, there's a little fire that kind of like lights up. You might not see it, but in my mind, I'm like, nah, you don't know who I am. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know where it comes from. It comes from maybe childhood. It's just, you know, wanting to be rebellious and just prove to people. But then that over time will give you confidence. And then now when I'm walking into these industries, I might be a complete fish out of water in tech world. But then I get there and I'm focusing on the goal. And the goal is to figure out first the information. And if the information that I get back is not good enough, then it's like, all right, I don't want to do this thing for me. But when I get information that tells me that all these people that have been living way greater than all of us, we the ones outside the club getting bullets shot at us, all kinds of stuff, you know, they sitting there chilling, and I'm like, okay, I need to figure out how to get on this side of the table. And then I started going there, and I started with just trying to learn the basics. That's it. When you walk in, they're gonna give you all this stuff, they're gonna drop all this information on you, everybody's gonna be nervous, oh, it's too much. Nah, I need the simple basics. And then once you get the basics, then you understand how to talk, the lingo, and you start to figure it out. But most people are fearful of, I'm not gonna be right, I'm not gonna be able to figure this out, and they don't even take the step. So the first thing to do, no matter what, is just to take the step. That's the difference. We talk about things all the time. You and your homies, you playing PlayStation, yeah, we do that, and nobody ever do it. The difference between me and everybody else, I'm gonna do it. I might fail, but I'm gonna try. So when I said we want to tech conferences, I asked all the homies, everybody was like, man, I don't want to do that. One of my homies was like, man, I'm trying to go with you.
Yeah.
To this day, this dude's my co-founder of my company.
That's
you know what I'm saying? Everybody else was like, yo, man, like they wasn't trying to understand what was happening, you know?
Yeah.
He didn't understand at the time either.
But
you know?
he just did it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I always found it funny that I got some of the bravest homeboys in the world. They'll do some of the craziest things ever, except, you know, they fear change.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They fear change. It's like, I'm like, yo, you don't fear nothing. Nothing on the streets. You don't fear nothing. But if somebody wants you to come to an office and talk to them about your other talents, I can't do all that, man. You know, nah. It's like they're afraid to step in different environments. They're afraid to change. And
I listen to a lot of content about that. You know, I listen to a lot of audiobooks. And, you know, what I've learned from that is that it's really about being comfortable, you know? And if you think about like us, we've been in certain environments where we could be around wolves and be a little bit comfortable, you know, because we're at least more comfortable than the average person that hasn't been around wolves, right? So then when you get in a place where you now have to completely get into something that's uncomfortable, that's a tough feeling for you. Like it's very difficult to stay in a sense of a state of being uncomfortable. So people often avoid taking that step, you know? So if it revolves, you know, doing some smart stuff and you in your mind, you're thinking like, oh man, I didn't make good grades, I didn't understand math, you just by default say, I don't want to do that, you know?
Yeah, it's like you got to keep conquering your fears over and over to build the confidence to understand that even if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And have that drive to go in there and do it. Like,
Yeah.
take me back, man. You in school, somebody beating on the table, you know what I'm saying? And dudes are freestyling, and you know that you could jump in there and freestyle better than them, but you don't at first.
Yeah.
How was it when you finally said, yo, I'm stepping in that cypher?
Man, I think it's all about confidence, man.
Yeah.
Because I remember bombing a few times. I was still good, but you could tell, you know the person that's not even the best rapper in the world, but they just got that confidence. They know how to just control the crowd. That there were some people at school that might have been good at basketball, good at whatever, and they just had that confidence because they knew whatever they did, everybody was gonna laugh, right? So me being more of a quiet kind of lurker, you know what I'm saying? I would just always kind of sit around. And then I remember one time I did one rap. I thought I was doing pretty good, and everybody was like, "Man, get out!" They just like halfway through, like, "Get out of here," you know. So that could break you, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
But man, remember, I always got that little thing inside of me that just kind of makes me mad. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it'll be there, you won't see it. So I remember being a person that'll observe for a lot. A lot of the stuff that I learned in the game was because I watched somebody else make a mistake first, and I knew what not to do. So I remember there was one time everybody was beating on the table, and they always used to do this freestyle thing passing. And there was this one kid that every time he freestyled, he was smart because he always made sure that he mentioned something about somebody, something somebody was wearing. The other dude was just rapping, which is cool.
Right.
But this guy would always get a reaction out of always mentioning something that was visible. That to me was the real art of freestyling. So when I went home and I was in the mirror looking at rap, I was trying to do that. I was trying to rap about whatever was on and get comfortable about the things that around me so that when I was in front of a people, I could do that. And because that's impressive. That's the one thing that Texas is built on, being able to freestyle and just rap. And now you know that I didn't think that up out of my head.
Yeah.
You know, I just thought that up on the fly
you
right
got
now.
a red hat and I just said that.
Yeah,
you know
and
what I'm
that's
saying?
impressive. So
Yeah.
I saw people doing that at the table, and I went back, and when I was practicing, that's what I would be practicing. I think all this stuff is really just repetition, you know what I'm saying? Like when you rap a lot, like Lil Flip, Kiati, all these dudes used to just be rapping so much that they just got all the memorized, the rhyming words in their head, you know what I'm saying? They know when they say this one gonna come with it, you know?
Right.
So it's just a muscle memory thing, and I remember the time that I killed it, that feeling is like you in front of everybody goes crazy, like I think that'll change you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
for real.
I felt that a couple times early, and it was like, all right, I could do this. And what I learned is I just think that some people look at me as a rapper, but I realized that I'm just a person that has a gift of gab. You know what I'm saying? I'm just good at talking.
Right.
They might say, oh, he's a rapper, but no, this same ability is what allows me to get into a boardroom or get into an investment meeting and still be successful because I'm able to analyze the situation and then know how to respond, you know? So I just happen to do that on beats.
Right.
But I learned from, you know, all those practice sessions, you know, like jump rope when they jump in and you gotta like wait for your chance to jump in. That's kind of what I was doing with the rap stuff, and you know, just kind of created who I am, you know?
Yeah, dog. Communication, man, is like, I find myself in my older years trying to be intentional about improving my communications. You know what I'm saying? I think that's something that's really important in all areas of life, you know, work, family. So I thank God that I had the art of rap to kind of give me the training wheels, you know what I'm saying, to learn how to communicate. You said something real interesting, man. You said that's what Texas was built on, you know what I'm saying? When I think about Texas, man, I think about all the greats, Scarface, you know what I'm saying, Ghetto Boys, Willie D, of course, Bun B, rest in peace, Pimp C, rest in peace, Bushwick, you know what I'm saying, all the way to, you know, what's my guy, man, Humpty Hump. I used to be at the Kappa Beach party in Galveston with Humpty Hump.
Yeah, for sure.
Big Hump from Sucker Free.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Records, man, and just all that stuff, man, and me being from the outside, being from the West, it was a whole nother world for me. You know what I mean? Like my first time I met Paul, I think Paul Wall was still a DJ, a radio DJ at some point, right?
Yeah, he used to DJ a lot.
Yeah, he was DJing or something. Yeah, so that's when I first met him, man. And you know, the swangers, you feel me? The Cup of Mud, you know what I'm saying? The DJ Screw, you know what I mean? The Papa Does, you know what I'm saying? Like all those things, and it was just a different world to me, and I like to soak in that because it's all hip hop connects us.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I like to soak it all in. Like, damn, I'm in Texas, man. This is where they wrote pocket full of stones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is where this happened and that. How was it though being from Texas and watching that scene just blow up and change the music world?
Yeah, it's definitely a place that is real heavy in culture. You know what I'm saying? If you think about it, during the time, you know, there's been these waves and hip hop has moved to all these different regions, but most of the time, during that time, it was always moving somewhere where everybody would be kind of shocked about the culture. Remember when the Hot Boys came out and it was just like, you thought every little kid was running around, you know, New Orleans with a little AK and some Reeboks on, you know what I'm saying? Like, that might've been the case, but it was like they created a whole culture, and Texas just had its own little unique thing that for the time, at the time, it was kind of a local thing. Nobody knew or expected it to become as global as it became. But it was something that, one thing about Texans is they super proud, you know? Like Texans is like, we don't care about nobody else. We got what we got going on. And I think that certain confidence led to all the things you saw. Like you gotta have some confidence to be like, yeah, we just gonna take this metal and put this metal in our mouth. You know what I'm saying? Put some diamonds on that. Like, I don't care what they're talking about. Oh yeah, we just gonna take this, you know, this drink and pour it in this and, you know, we gonna sip. We gonna walk around with the white cup. Oh yeah, we gonna put these crazy rims that stick out on the side of our car and just drive. You know, people looking at us, old ladies looking like what, we don't care. That's Texas culture, you know? And I'm just seeing that audacity, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember Slim Thug, man, I was young, driving, I saw Slim Thug, I remember the street I was on like Gulf Bank and Antoine, and I'm in a little hoopty, and I see Slim Thug pull up at the light. I don't even know he was Slim Thug at the time, and he's in like this, it's a blue Cadillac. It's drop top, and it's got bull horns on the front of it. And I'm like looking at him driving past me, I'm like, who the hell is this? And homie's like, yeah, that's Slim Thug. I'm like, he in high school? Like, what? Like, and then later on you learn about the legend of Slim Thug, but it's like, man, like then he used to wear like a belt buckle with.
So like, that flavor was there the whole time.
Yeah, man, it was just everywhere.
Became global. Everybody wanted some of the sauce. After it just blew up like that.
And that's what I love about Texas to this day, regardless of up here, like everybody, we on what we on, you know what I'm saying? Like we ain't really tripping off of what nobody else got on, and that's what I've always loved about Texas.
Yeah, man, I gotta give it up to Texas, man. Houston, man, you know, shout out Bun, shout out Truck, you know what I mean? Trill Gladiators, man, like they always hold me down.
Yeah.
And the hospitality is just different. It's just a different feeling, man. So it's kind of like, you know, I come from Long Beach and we by the water. You know what I'm saying? So you get a lot of different types of grooves in the music, and you know, it's just a different sound, you know what I mean? It's more laid back, and you know, you're smoking and you know, the palm trees and all the good stuff. So when I think about Texas and when I'm going down there, it's like, man, what influenced this sound? And when I look at all of the mixtapes that you drop and the hustle, like I'm thinking about the sound and I'm thinking about the hustle. Because like you were actually your own distribution company. You were driving mixtapes and dropping them off. Was that like on consignment, or how was you doing that? Like you was in Ohio, man, you was taking these mixtapes everywhere, dog. Like people don't understand how much that takes, man. People don't understand that takes a lot of action, that takes a lot of work, grind, work ethic and hustle. And it's like, yo, you was doing that though, man. Talk to me about, you know, that life, man, of just believing in yourself and taking your product across the map on your own.
Yeah, well, first I got to give props to, you know, DJ Screw, rest in peace. Michael Watts, Ron C, you know, Jay Prince, Tony Draper, like all these people, you know, D-Rec.
Them some names, baby.
Yeah, all these people are the people that, you know, I mentioned earlier how it's always like a sponge. I could like sit and analyze things. And I watched all these people with their different distribution patterns, you know what I'm saying? And how they ran their record labels and how they got their music from A to B. Right. And I was able to be young and be able to see a lot of that stuff, you know, and to form my opinions on what I was gonna do when it was time for me, you know? Right. I remember there was this strategy that I don't remember where I got it from. I don't know if it was Slim Thug and Boss Hog Outlaws or something, where it was like they would go and drive in a city and they would get a hotel, you know, not something nice, one of them little hotels, there's like a little small bed in there, and they would immediately go to there used to be phone books in there, the yellow pages. And they would open the yellow page and rip out the page that had the record stores, you know, and call them all up. You know what I'm saying? And then I was like, I'm gonna do that. You know, because now you're in a city, you went to the city, you got the whole breakdown of all the record stores, and you got their addresses and everything, and you just pull up on all of them, you know? So the way you get people to buy the CDs is like very clever, because, you know, if you call them and tell them I'm rapper so-and-so from this other city, they don't know who you are. They're not gonna put their CDs in there. You say, you're gonna take it on consignment, maybe. But what you could do is create demand, because if you've already got a little bit of a fan base, what we would do is we got mixtapes, and we drop mixtapes. We drop them off. Say I drop them off in Dallas. Then on the mixtape, I'm telling everybody, yo, the mixtape is out at this other place, you know, in Waco, Texas. Because I know people gonna bootleg my mixtapes like crazy. And when people hear that it's out at that place that they recognize in the city, then what they do, they start calling, yo, you got that Chamillionaire? You got that Chamillionaire? And now you create a demand for yourself. Sometimes we would tell the fans to call the store. Sometimes we would call them ourselves and ask for the mixtape a bunch of times just to create demand. So then we call them and be like, hey, what's up? I'm Chamillionaire. I want to drop us a mixtape. Oh yeah, everybody been asking me about you. Yeah, come drop some off. I'll pay you. So how much you charging? $7 a piece. I want 100. You know? So then it was like, all right, next time it go 200. Then it's like 300. Then it's like, you know what I mean? And a lot of those different strategies came from me being a chameleon and getting in different rooms and kind of seeing how everybody was doing it. So, you know, I credit those guys that was just innovators that, you know, they took a lot of bumps and bruises for people like me to come in and just, you know, grab the plate. But, you know.
My man said, rip out the page with all the record stores in it and call them up.
Yeah, create demand.
And create demand. Have your fans call. Disguise your voice if you got to.
Yep.
Yo, y'all got that new Chamillionaire, you know what I'm saying?
We was doing it all.
And just create the demand. And that's what hip hop has always been, man, creating something out of nothing. You know what I'm saying? And that, to hear, like, a lot of jewels is right there. It shows you that it takes passion.
Yeah.
It shows you it takes drive, it takes hustle and action. You know, you got to put that action into the game, man. That just blew my mind, bro, because like we had our ways of doing things, but that right there, that's just,
man, there's
it's
so
genius,
many
bro.
different
It's
things,
marketing,
man.
it's innovation, it's genius shit.
There's so many different things. If you really think about what those mixtapes were and how it inspired a whole generation of new people that come in, you can see the little influence of Texas culture and the new Travis Scotts or the Drakes or all these other people. You got to look back at what those guys was doing.
Right.
These guys was basically raising people off of a whole distribution that they created and a whole sound that was unique. I'm in the middle of all that, watching all of it. I remember when the Screwed Up Click was like Swisher House wasn't really a thing at the time. It was kind of bubbling, but Screwed Up Click was a thing. We used to look at it like, man, this needs disruption, because all of them was like older dudes to us, you know what I'm saying? And we was all younger dudes on the north side, and our music was all about the south side. And it made Houston look like one big south side, but we knew that there was a north side.
Right.
So it opened an opportunity for disruption, some kind of disruption, to say, you know what? We gotta try to create music for the south side, but we had a blueprint. You know, they were already doing something that worked. They were doing something that everybody in Texas was starting to like and starting to want more and more of, you know? And they had their pace, and it was just like, Watts came in and was like, all right, I got some too. We're gonna do something to represent the north side, you know? And it's like that. There's always like a Uber and a Lyft. There's always some kind of company that's solving a problem, and then somebody else that's trying to fill the gap, you know?
Yeah, no, that right there, dog, is that's just amazing talk right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, to even have those kind of thoughts and that hunger, I guess, you know, that necessity created that drive, you know what I'm saying? North side, south side, dog, I felt like I lived in Texas sometimes just listening to the music, you know what I'm saying? But that's how I use hip hop to travel, you know, when I was young, you know what I mean? Because we wanted to escape. We lived in the hood. Might not have been the best environment, and, you know, we wanted to escape, so we just pushed play on something and, you know what I mean? Almost astral project into wherever that person was from, you know, and kind of like sit in the passenger seat and ride with them, you know what I mean, through their hood.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And then, you know what I wanted to ask you though, because I've been thinking about, you know, this conversation we having, and one of the things that I rarely see you speak on is the fact that you are so good at drawing.
Yeah.
You know, and art.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now with, you know, blockchain technology and the NFTs, is that something that you're looking at? Maybe, you know, creating some NFTs with your artistic side?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely gonna do that. But what I say is, first, let's just start with the creativity, right?
Okay.
So when I was younger, when you used to ask a kid what they want to be when they grow up, I used to say an architect, right? Like, I don't know where that came from, but it was just something about buildings and shapes that I liked, and I used to draw them. I used to draw comic books. I used to draw characters, and that's how I formed who I am, Chamillionaire. Like the logo, most artists don't have a logo. There's a few,
Right.
I got a lizard logo, and that came from like watching Batman and Spider-Man and all these superheroes that had logos, and I was looking through rap like, how come nobody got a logo? I'm gonna make me a logo.
Right.
So that was just creativity kind of forming, as a kid. And then it evolved to being pretty good because repetition, I'm drawing so much that now, I can draw a self-portrait of you and it looks just like you,
Wow.
like that's the type of
That's crazy.
art I was doing. I'm talking about Prismacolors, map colors, charcoal, whatever it is, you know what I'm
What?
saying? Like that's like
crazy.
that type of talent when it comes to drawing. So everybody used to think that I was gonna like draw comic books for a living. That's the type of stuff you think when you're younger, but then you get older and realize like, wait a second, a lot of the creatives that I know that drew, they didn't turn it into nothing,
Right.
But that creativity doesn't leave you because that is still the fabric of who I am today.
Right.
We talk about NFTs. I feel like I dropped Mixtape Inside 7. I feel like that was an NFT before NFTs. If you really think about what that CD was, it's a CD, you open the CD up, there's only 100 of them, so it's rare, right? And inside the CD, only way you can get it is by auditioning in some kind of way. Fans were doing all kind of crazy stuff. One fan went into a field, his friend pulled out a BB gun and shot him. He did that to win one of them. Another kid tattooed the logo right here. Like it was crazy stuff.
Laugh, but damn.
Yeah, it was crazy stuff. Fans was going crazy because they knew it was rare.
Bucked for that,
Because they knew it was rare. But when you opened it up and you got it, it had 1 of 100 or 2 of 100 on there. So their
Marketing
number.
genius again.
Yeah, and then each one of them had a $100 bill in there. I personally took my own money and put a $100 bill in each one of those mixtapes. That is an NFT.
Yes.
It's like a physical NFT before NFT. So when an NFT comes now, of course I can understand that concept, right? Doing something rare, doing something that now is authenticated, who the real owner of it is, it's not fake, like, come on now. So once this kind of wave started happening, everybody hit me. Everybody's like, oh, Cam, you gotta, drop NFTs, you're gonna make more millions, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not a person that just defaults to just always making money.
Right.
I'm always gonna really think it out, figure out how to do it right. And sometimes it's important to not be the rapper, be on the other side. So I invest, I'm investing in like 60 plus companies. Like I've been chasing every company that I think is like where everybody's gonna drop their NFTs to actually get some ownership in that. Because I do believe that there's a real wave coming. I'm not saying I'm not gonna release an NFT, but that's like an individual goal. I put out an NFT and then I make me some money. But there's money to be made from ownership in a platform.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We talked about what, people made off of Instagram when they invested in Instagram. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
This is public information. People can go look it up. They know Andreessen Horowitz invested $250,000 in Instagram and made $78 million. A lot of us use Instagram, we ain't make nothing. You know what I'm saying? So if NFT wave is coming and everybody's gonna be making them, why doesn't anybody think about being the owner in the platform? That's kind of how I think. It's just another layer behind the thing that people might call me about. You know what I'm saying? It just sounds crazy.
So why don't you think people, just automatically think, hey, yo, you know what? Especially in the hip hop culture, like instead of me just making a song with a digital, piece of art with it, why not, invest into a platform? Like what's missing in their mindset that's making them not think how you think?
I mean, I was there at one point. I didn't understand all this. I didn't, I bought a bunch of stuff. I had the big diamond chains and all that type of stuff. And I'm not even saying there's anything wrong with that because at the end of the day, you're gonna live your life,
Right.
But it's something about the idea of taking your hard-earned money and just giving it away to somebody and not realizing what you're gonna get back from it. When you buy jewelry and you buy rims and Forgiatos, whatever, in your mind, you default to like, I know what I'm about to get. I'm about to pull up, they about to be,
Yeah.
But that's this abstract concept of I'm gonna give some random company my money, they're gonna give me these shares, and it's gonna mean what? Like, that's when you don't have that information and you don't have that experience, it's hard for you to grasp that. And even if you do grasp it, you still have to wait a long time. And we want immediate gratification. We don't want to wait for nothing. When you start talking to people about the long term and family and their legacy, they ain't trying to hear that. They're like, right now, I gotta keep the lights on. I'm gonna go get this show money right now. So that's why it's tough. So I think the messaging and how you say it is super important. And you don't want to come off too preachy. I know in the past I might have come off too preachy. Fans used to be like, you preaching too much, but it came from a good place. I'm trying to give people the game because often we find out late. By the time I got to tech, people think I'm an innovator in tech and been like, it's people that was here 10 years before I got here, 20 years before I got here. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I should have known about this way before.
Right.
You know, so I feel an obligation to try to catch everybody up and be like, I'm telling y'all. And if you really think about it, this whole thing, we talking about mixtapes, go back and look. Maybe I should do more talking about this and you know, beat on my chest a little bit more.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Each time there was an innovator. Soulja Boy is good at promoting, like, hey man, I was the first. During the time when Soulja Boy was there, guess who was there with him? Right, me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when rappers wasn't even having a website, who had a website? Go back and look. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When nobody was thinking about ringtones, who was the first? Who's the first multi-platinum master tone artist in history?
Wow.
If they go do the history, and Rick and look and they'll see who it is.
Talk it.
Like,
let's talk to
and
him.
at the time when we at the time when we telling people it's all foreign, and now when I look and see all these websites and see it, like some people been saying it over and over and over again. Yeah. So now when this new generation of content and products and apps come in, and somebody's telling you, hey, look at this, then here we go again. People are like, oh, I don't know. It's like you see the history over and over, bro. Mm-hmm. So at some point you either listen or you don't, you know. And I think. I like young boys like Soulja Boy and how they'll get out there and try to like hype themselves up to be like, no, y'all gonna listen to me and y'all gonna respect my history and you're not gonna rewrite my history, you know?
Yeah.
And he gonna write it himself. Like, you know, people hit me all the time and tell me I need to do more of that, but I'm more of a like, an action person, you know what I'm saying? I did a lot of talking for a long time. I ain't trying to talk no more. At the end of the day, I always tell people about the story of the tortoise and the hare, right? You know, the tortoise is just moving straight. Everybody thinks the tortoise is just on his journey. The hare is running around doing all kind of crazy stuff. At the end of the day, the tortoise wins. And when the tortoise wins, the special thing about that is you got to go back and you got to look at the journey and see what the tortoise did. Then you're like, oh, you see all them breadcrumbs that was dropped off. I'm like, man, the whole time the tortoise was giving us the game. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at life, you know?
Yeah, I really believe like the new revolution for, you know, the hip hop culture needs to be economic. You know what I'm saying? And you super about it, bro. You super about it, because like when I go down a rabbit hole and look at, you know, let me look at some Chamillionaire interviews. You know, I'll see you sitting on a couch like this and you'll say, yeah, you know, I've invested in 40 companies. And I'll go look at another one and you'll say, yo, I invested in 50 companies. You just sat right there and said you invested in 60 companies.
Yeah, that's right.
You about this. You about this life. You know what I'm saying? So I'm so happy that you're even willing to share some of that knowledge with the culture, because it's needed, man. When I look at Robert F. Smith, you know what I'm saying? I wonder, why isn't this dude the biggest superstar to us hip hop people?
Yeah.
Why isn't he on this big pedestal like everybody else? Like we put, you know, people who made our favorite song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We need your voice. You know what I'm saying? Is this intentional, man? Like, is it real intentional for you right now to kind of like step into that role of, I'm going to give some information to the culture?
Man, everybody I know calls me about this. They be like, Cam, you got to talk more. You got to do more interviews. You got to do this, you know? So I do feel a sense of obligation, right? And not just because they think I got to talk. They think I'm pretty good at making difficult concepts more digestible, right? So I'm like, all right, I just think that we are seeing creatures, you know what I'm saying? When we see, we believe. You know, you could talk all day, but at the end of the day, the reason why people will listen to me now is because they've seen some things that made them believe, like, oh, wait a second, he didn't have the normal rapper trajectory, and that makes them care about what I say. So the more I accomplish that, the more now what I say has more weight to it. So the only way to make that happen is you gotta be doing the work. You could be doing a bunch of talking, or you could do the work. And the one thing I see is there's a lot of talking from people. And sometimes when people are doing too much talking, they kind of mess it up. Because it's like the guy that's always at the conference that's just talking all day, you know? And I don't want to be like that person. So I'm not an influencer. I'm not posting to try to get some likes. I'm not posting so you can give me a brand deal. Like that type of stuff is not bad if that's your journey.
Right.
But I'm trying to be the opposite of that. Because the more I do just like you, then I look just like you. Now I look like I'm just this guy that's like trying to, you know, give you all this information so I could, you know, bring you to my class and charge you. Like, I'm not trying to do all that, you know what I'm saying? Right. So I'm very calculated about how I talk about this stuff, and I just want to make sure that it's the right people listening. Like, there's a reason why I'm here today. You know how many people ask me to do interviews, they're like, they don't understand why I want to do interviews, you know what I'm saying? But I think the most important thing, if people go back and look at my interviews, they see I'm talking about information and relationships. Right. Those are the two most valuable things.
Please believe it.
And the reason why I'm sitting in front of you is because you are a good source of information and relationship. You respect that relationship.
Yes,
All the
sir.
times that I asked you for something and you did it without asking me for nothing, I remember that.
And I
So now I show up, I'm like, all right, what I tell you, I hate doing interviews, bro, but I'm gonna do it for you. You know what I'm saying? Because like some people don't understand that. You know, that's a currency that we build in life. You know what I'm saying? And I learned a lot of that from Paul Wall. I used to be the antisocial guy. Paul used to be smiling that grill. He would be everybody, like talking to him, dapping him up. He was just building friends. I used to be like, yo, how are you this good at like building relationships? People used to just hate me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right, I know I'm good at the business side. I gotta like start working on the relationship side. I'm good at the information side. And once I got the information and relationship side together, game over. Now I got more relationships than I did when I was at the top of the charts. Like that's crazy to me.
Now that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
How does that feel?
Man, it just feels like it's validation that you're doing something right. And when all the noise and everybody talking, it's like now I don't like, you know. Like I think like life is a lot simpler than we make it out to be. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's always got all the answers and all this type of stuff. At the end of the day, you got to figure out what your why is.
Yeah.
Why? And I remember I was doing a lot of stuff for a why that just wasn't me. I used to be in a club doing all this rapping stuff, going from city to city, and everybody in the club smoking, drinking, dancing. I don't do none of that.
Yeah.
And I'm just there every day. Everybody just staring at me. I'm like, why am I here?
Right.
You know, because, they told me I'm supposed to be here. We in a strip club, throwing your money in the air, throwing your money, because that's what they told you to do. I'm throwing my money, getting some kind of validation I think I'm gonna get. And then I look and the A&R next to me and he nudging me like, throw some more. And I'm like, you're not even throwing no money. And like, what? Like,
you throw some.
Yeah, you start to rethink it like, what are we talking? What are we doing here?
Right.
You know, and when you unlock that, you realize, what was I doing all that for? What did I gain? You know, did I gain some temporary relationships that ain't here no more because I'm not throwing no more money? Probably so. It's not real. And that's the thing that all these people in the industry be trying to get across to these young people. They don't understand why somebody can have nothing and then make it and then all of a sudden talk about it in this negative way. Oh, you should be happy. You're getting money. They're trying to let you know that everything you think, the grass that's green on the other side isn't always what you think. And that's what I learned. At the top of the charts, everybody hits you. Nothing but fake stuff in your SkyTel or whatever it was at the time. And it's like, you know, what are we doing here? So now you want to build real relationships, you want to get real information, and then once you get that, you don't want to lose it. So that's where I'm at now. It's just, to me, I don't care what anybody say. This is life to me. This is peace. You know, like my ultimate goal here is to help a lot of other people create a stimulus package in their lives because that makes me feel good, you know, and to go out and just see the world. You know what I'm saying?
And go out and be happy.
Yeah.
I started cleaning up my social media. You know what I'm saying? Because what we feed our mind, you know, I put my mind on a diet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to see a bunch of negative, low vibration stuff on my page. I don't want to see a bunch of, you know, gossip and, you know, things of that nature. I want to see entrepreneurs. I want to see go-getters. I want to see motivational people, hustlers. And, you know, that's what really brought me to a lot of your interviews in the past, like when you're on impact theory and things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? Because now you're suggested to me in my YouTube algorithm.
Oh, wow.
Because that's what I watch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you said something in the interview, man, and I wanted to see if you could unpack some of it. How did the passing of Nipsey Hussle, how did Nipsey Hussle's passing affect you?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. I remember we were out with, every year I do like a big vacation and I bring family in, a lot of people, and we just like go somewhere crazy, you know? And I remember we was at a dinner table and I remember eating and I was just like, I wasn't even hungry anymore, you know? And it was a few days after Nipsey had already passed, you know? But it was just like, I was asking myself like, yo, this is affecting me like a lot more than I thought it would, you know? And I was trying to like wrap my mind around why, you know? Now, the passing of any life is always bad, right? And especially when it's somebody that you know or have some kind of relationship with. But when it happens to somebody that you believe that had this bigger purpose, that the whole time, when after somebody passes, everybody goes back and look at the historic stuff and they're like, oh my goodness, he was dropping all these gems, like you was watching it the whole time. It's just, it hits you different because you know that you think that there's this mission for this person. It's like way more to go, right? And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I'm bothered by this, like really, really bad. You know what I'm saying? And then I remember looking up, and one of the people that was there with me was just like looking at me, like, and could tell, because I'm not always like that, and just asked me, like, man, like I already know what you dealing with, like you messed up over Nipsey, like, and I was like, yeah, man, like, you know, the way it happened, you know, too soon, and then a lot of times, you know, rappers is getting taken in their own cities, you know, right in front of the place where you're giving value to people. Like, it's something about that just I don't like. And I think what I found what I realized, or I believe, I'm not all the way sure, but I believe is because it's something about the passing of Nip that makes me look my own mortality in the face. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of times where I feel like I could have been in that same exact situation.
Yes.
You know, like hate from people that grew up around you is a hell of a drug, you know? Yeah. And there's been times where I've been threatened, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's been times where people have said things where it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna be around you anymore. Right. Matter of fact, there's some people in my life that I'm not cool with. And when people say, oh, y'all should get back cool, I tell them the reason why I can never ever be friends with you again is if you ever threaten my life one time, you're never gonna get a second chance, ever. Right. There are people that I was really good friends with. At some point, they got mad about something, threatened my life. Never talk to them again. Never. Because I'm not gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna believe you. You might do that, you know? So it's something about the trajectory of like having nothing, coming up around wolves that ain't got nothing, then making it out, having a little bit of like survivor remorse because you feel like you want people to make it out, want to help people, and then you're doing everything to try to give back to the people because you feel like, man, I got to do something. You're giving them information. You're doing all kind of things that you're not publicizing, and then to watch that happen to somebody that you know that was on that same path, it's like, man, bro.
It's deflating. It's like, man, like I went to his funeral, man, and it was some of my homeboys from Long Beach, older homies, you know, street veterans, and I'm like, yo. Do we open this shop on the east side of Long Beach? Look at what they're doing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And one of my older homies was like, you know, we can't allow that. We can't allow them to win, those who will do acts like that to somebody who's trying to give back. We can't allow that side of the crowd to win. We got to still do what we do and give back and show up and be present. You know what I'm saying? And I said, you're absolutely right. It's real deep. Rest in peace to Nip.
And people think that it has something to do with like, a lot of times I saw people like, oh man, we're never gonna get the music. And it's like, what? Like when I say something bigger, I'm not even talking about music. Right. You know, like it's something way bigger for some people. You can just tell, you can see it in their DNA. You can see the way they talk and how intense they are in their interviews. And you can just tell that it's something deeper there, you know? Yeah. You know, you can spot those people, and he was definitely one of those people. But then I think just a genuinely kind person. Like I remember arguing with him because I was trying to pay him for the verse that he did. He just wouldn't take it. And this was like independent what? I wasn't used to that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you ain't like, nah, you good? I'm like, no, I'm not good. Like, because my thing is I don't be want to owe anybody, you know? Yeah. So I had to like force him to like take. He was just like, nah. I was just like, man. So it's just something about that, and the way he carried himself. Like, you always in your mind, you just never think, and then now you just looking at your own life, like, okay. You know, I gotta really be careful out here, man. Because
be careful.
Hate is real.
Be careful, man. The hate is real, man.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say on the mic? Like, do you feel like, yo, I need to go in the booth. I need to talk to the booth real quick. Does that urge ever come over you?
Yeah, it happens all the time. All the time. I remember when what was it? BET Cypher, Hi Rihanna.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, they gotta get up there. I'm gonna light that thing up. You know what I'm saying? Like I be thinking like that sometimes. But you know, I don't know, man. Like, it's not that the love for hip hop has never left. Like I love hip hop. I still listen to it, all different forms. You know, like I'm in the culture. But it's like, you know, you can still get the dopamine that you want in a different way. You know what I'm saying? And I learned that. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's not like, you know. I think people can't understand when they be like, do you ever miss like getting on the stage and all them people? I never really, that never really did anything for me. I don't know why, it just didn't. It always felt fake, you know what I'm saying? I would get on the stage and they're with you for a moment, and then the minute your song's not hot, they don't care. You know what I'm saying? They're there for, you know, temporary entertainment, you know what I'm saying? So if you let that get to you and then your ego, eventually it'll take you to another place than when you lose it, right? You see all these artists and how they kind of go crazy a little bit after they're not as, I guess, quote unquote, right? Yeah, because
that white hot space Jay-Z talks about.
yeah, I never really had that. I was a person that never really wanted to be famous. I always wanted to be just successful, you know. So
It seems like it takes more casual fans to propel you to that atmosphere, but don't you think that your core diehard fans, like, they with you regardless?
Are they?
Man, on my timeline, you know what I'm saying, they with you. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean.
When I'm talking rap, I talk rap every single day on Twitter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your fans come out to play.
Yeah.
You
No,
know
they
what
be
I'm saying?
tagging me in your stuff sometimes.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that those people, I think they with you 100%. But
we talking about a different fan.
We talking about a different fan because, like I said, when you got 100,000 people somewhere across the globe that do not speak English, but they know every single word to Riding Dirty while you up there on stage, that's a totally different atmosphere of fans. You were able to crash that glass ceiling and go into a whole nother, galaxy with it. You know what I'm saying?
Let's break down what a fan means, right? Like, fan is short for fanatic, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's somebody that's like, they knee deep in excitement about what you got going on. You know what I'm saying? And most of the time, that's music, it's basketball, it's football, whatever it is you're doing. And then the whole fan responsibility that they put on themselves. You know how people walk up on you and say, "Oh, I'm a fan, like you got to do this," or "You should take a picture of me, I'm a fan," or "How could you do that to a fan?"
Right.
That completely gets removed once you stop doing that thing that, they liked. I mean, think about all the examples.
So do you think?
Because if you're a fan and you supporter of me for real, then if I we don't want you to do that, we want you to do that thing. So then you start to question, like, wait a second. All this stuff I gave you, all the game I dropped off for your well-being.
Yeah.
Now I want to do this and I want you to support me. It's like, nah, I can't do that.
Wow.
That makes me be like, I mean, what are we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? And remember, I'm a results guy. Like, it's got to be real.
Yeah.
So maybe somebody could tell me I'm wrong and tell me, no, you got fans.
You Chamillionaire fans out there, man, y'all better not be.
No, I'm talking about everybody's fans. I'm not talking about my fans specifically. I'm talking about period.
Yeah, I mean,
you are leasing, bro. You're not owning. You don't own these people. They're gonna be on to the next thing. They're gonna get older. They're gonna have kids. They're gonna be in a different place in life. They're gonna have a different relationship with people. And
but do you think like look at Jordan? He still got fans, diehards.
Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
I mean, sports is like
different?
Sports is like, it's almost insane how you ever seen Cowboys fans?
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys, like,
Yeah,
come on.
They're almost worse as us, Raiders fans.
It's something different, man. But at the end of the day, I don't even think it's really even about Jordan or the individual. I think it's about the thing.
Okay.
It's the aura. That's what a lot of people are like. He's relevant forever, right?
Right.
Michael Jackson relevant forever, and
Right.
because they don't have to deal with that up and down curve, they don't experience that.
So what about somebody like a Rakim, who's gonna always be in top 5s, top 10s for eternity? He also occupies that space. I mean, because you got a lot of young people who, they might not know who Rakim is. You know what I'm saying? But when I start talking hip hop, Rakim is the God MC. You know what I'm saying? And he hasn't really released a lot of music. Like, I'm saying that because I still got, what's that pinch emoji?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I got that much faith that there are people out there who, even when you stop, put it down, because everybody know I'm retiring next year. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Yeah. I'm getting out. I'm expressing myself in different places. My love for hip hop, I will express it in different forms and different avenues. And you saying that once I put that down,
Yep.
damn.
Hey, man, listen. I'm telling you, man, somebody could debate me. I'm sure it's going to be some fans in the comments telling me that I'm wrong. But what I think
I'm gonna
is,
just fade away. They're gonna be like, all right.
what I
on
think
to the
is,
next.
even Rakim,
Yeah.
legendary. I mean, put the building blocks in front of for a lot of us, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
But I'm a results guy again. Right now, the level of revere that we have for him, the level that we put him on, everything else that follows should be on that same level. And I'm pretty sure if you ask him, he'd probably feel like, yeah, the right people know, but he probably feels like, you see all these young people now acting like he ain't did nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
And again, at some point, he was on that stage and 100,000 people were there.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So are they your fans for life? Or are they your fans temporarily? Probably temporarily, you know? And every now and then something will happen that will get you a whole bunch of new fans, and then you'll create more and you kind of adding more to the pot. But at the end of the day, I don't think like everybody else. I'm sorry. Like, it's hard for this stuff goes in my ear and out one ear, you know, because the fan relationship, somebody can easily come up to you and say, oh, I'm a fan. And like, there's no card, there's no test you have to take to be a fan. You just can say it.
Yeah.
And now people will say something crazy on Twitter and be like, oh man, how could you do this to a fan? Like, how do you, and they'd be like, oh, Cam said this to a fan. How do we know this person's a fan? Right. Anybody could just say that. There's no, and then even if they buy one mixtape, now for life, you have to be in debt to this person. And if you do one thing, you wake up one day and you're in a bad mood, oh man, that's messed up, F you, I'm not your fan. Like, that is such a fickle relationship, bro.
Especially in cancel culture.
Yeah, so I'm not, because I know that it's fickle, it's like, man, like, I got real ones that I've been with for a long time. Like, I care about stuff like that. That other stuff is like in one ear. The 1 minute you spit a hot verse, the minute you spit a verse is not hot.
Yeah.
You know how the fan get. You drop that mixtape that they don't like.
Right.
I'll be like, what? I gave y'all all this stuff over and over again. I gave you the game. Right. I was singing melodies before they was doing, and now this how you gonna play me?
Yeah.
So eventually you get to a point where you're like, yeah, all right, what we doing there?
So people are they saying things like, what's making you feel like this? Like, are you, like, when you go online, are people very disappointed and upset that you decided to go into tech and damn near become Bruce Wayne? They mad about that?
I wouldn't say that. I think you build a new, I guess, fan base of people that will be excited about that thing. So I definitely have a lot of people that are encouraged, and entrepreneurs and everybody that kind of see what I'm doing in the tech space. But then you got a bunch of fans that the whole time, these are the people that I was catering to, right? And now, because I don't do that thing, I'm not talking about the people that hate me. I'm talking about the people that they like, yo, F all that. I ain't trying to hear that. Make another song. Go look on my post and see. Like, why you think Rihanna don't be dropping nothing?
Now that I can agree with you on, because I get that for the Slaughterhouse brand.
Yeah, it's like,
you know
am I a
slave?
slave?
They be like, yo, forget all that. We want to hear Slaughterhouse. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, we mad because Slaughterhouse ain't doing what they used to do. You know what I'm saying? So I get that energy. I just always used to say that those guys were like, that wasn't the real core of people who were supporting what we were doing in my mind. But I see exactly where you're coming from, man.
Every artist, I'll be watching these interviews. I saw Andre 3000 talking about him not rapping. I saw multiple people. Think about all the legends and all the people that's not releasing. I think a lot of people are dealing with this and they're not saying nothing. You know what I'm saying? Look at Nicki Minaj. I just saw her post something about her barbs. Like, yo, I'm not even giving y'all no information no more. Like, why? Because you gotta, you know, you can't just be doing this in a vacuum, not paying attention. You gotta pay attention to something, because that's the way we judge whether what we did, the art was received well. But then, you know, when you see the people that you believe are your supporters, and then all of a sudden they turn into something else, it's like, man, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like sometimes that fanatic could go too far. You know what I'm saying?
And I think that's what stops people from experimenting artistically sometimes, because they're so nervous about what are the fans gonna think if I go outside the box and experiment in a different way. I definitely wanted to ask you this though. I wanted to ask you because I never seen this question posed to you. What is your creative process, man? Like, when you're a technical rhymer, you got skill level, your skill level is right, your melodies, when you want to do melodies, you know how to stack, and you know what I'm saying, your vocals, like, there's a lot of talent in what you do. You know what I'm saying? What is the creative process if you're in the studio? Like, what, you have a routine? Like, what do you do to start, you know, the creation process?
Well, most of the time, I think a lot of people get in the studio and just kind of like waste a bunch of time. I'm not that person. I'm like a very efficient person when it comes to that. So most of the time, when I'm going into the studio, I already got some kind of concept, because I'm like, send me the beat in advance. I get the beat. I'm riding to the beat in the car. I'm just coming up with something that's going a rhyming pattern that I think is going to make me excited about it first. Just the way I'm a rhyme. But most of the time, the melody comes first. If I hear a beat and immediately a melody just comes out, most of the hooks that you heard from me, that melody that you heard was the first melody I heard. You know, my co-founder, he actually produced on both of my albums, right? So he used to get so mad about this in the studio, because we would go in there and he'd play a beat, and he always be like, man, you gotta put one of them hooks on this thing, you know? And I'll be like, I'd have a hook, and the hook comes like, I don't know, 5 seconds in if we can listen to this thing, you know, like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever. I'm the melody at least. And then I'm just thinking of the words to it, you know? And then I'll have it and I won't even record it. And he's like, yo, man, I know you got the hook right now. You know what I'm saying? But you're trying to make it perfect. Like, just put it down. And I'm like, nah, trust me, we're gonna get the hook right. And then I get the hook right, and then when I put the hook down, then the rapping part is easy. Like, to me, the rapping words is just coming out. They just spilling out. A lot of times I'm over communicating on the music, you know? And that's from repetition and just doing it a bunch. But the one thing that I'll tell you is my formula, and I don't know if there is a such thing as a formula, I don't think you can teach the melody thing. I think that sometimes people just innately just have that. Maybe you can, I don't know, but I've had it since a kid. I always just hear melodies in my head. But the rapping part, I always try to say something that I think is gonna stand out. You know what I'm saying? Like that cannabis line I went back to, like that's the type of stuff that like I would hear. Method Man used to do that all the time. He used to say something like, man, he just standing out on the track. I don't care who's on it. I don't gotta listen to their verse. I'm saying something that I know is gonna stand out.
Right.
So that's how I think about it, because you know, the way I could explain it is, if you walk into a conference and it's a bunch of people, and you leave the conference and I ask you about the people at the conference, you probably ain't gonna remember anybody because there's a bunch of people. But if a guy walked in and he had a red suit on and a red fedora, you gonna remember him, right? Because he stood out, right? So that's how I approach rap. It's like on every mixtape, when me and Paul was on there, I didn't care who was on it. I'm gonna say something that they gonna be like, man, who the hell is that? You know what I'm saying?
And it worked.
Yeah, and that's
That
what I used to do
approach
every time. So when people come up to me and rap and they say that one thing, I'm like, you know, the one thing that make you sit up a little bit, like, okay, like you gotta come like that. So that's what I do. And then also, when I used to back in the days used to write raps, you know how people get kind of comfortable with their raps? Any line that was not good, out. Every time. I don't care. I threw away more bars than anybody in the world.
You threw away better shit than they spitting right now.
Yeah, it's gotta be good. It's gotta be good the whole time. You know what I'm saying? So what I realized is that there's this gap, right? And in the middle, there's these people that understand that. They saw all that mixtape stuff. And there's all these other people that are fans that kind of only know Riding Dirty.
Right. Oh,
and they say, oh man, how the hell y'all saying he's one of the greatest? And like, y'all don't, like, they don't understand because they never saw all this other stuff.
The other stuff.
They never saw me in Rap City in the booth rhyming backwards, you know what I'm saying? They never saw none of that, you know? So it's kind of hard for them to.
Let's talk about that. Rhyming backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, when I listen to you speak, man, about whatever, you know, it's like the words and the ideas are marching out, you know what I'm saying? And they're just flawlessly coming out in your conversation, you know what I'm saying? And it lets me know that your mind is thinking like this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you have that type of a mind and it's sharp like that, and you have such creative juices flowing, like who would be in your top 5? Who would be some people that you respect enough to put in that position? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like hard for us technical guys sometimes to be inspired or be, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's like, well, you know, we can do that. We know how you're doing that. I know how you're doing this. You know, who is in Chamillionaire's top 5? Who has inspired you?
Man, I don't know if that might be the first time I might have been asked that question. I don't know if I ever got asked that before. That's crazy, because that's a question that comes up all the time in all interviews. I might have maybe some, you know, promo run somebody asked me, but I don't remember. But I mean, honestly, I think every time I might have answered that, I'm just making up stuff. I don't really have a top 5. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm like a true chameleon, you know what I'm saying? And I think that there's greatness you can find in so many different places, you know what I'm saying? So now, back in the days, I used to judge people by like, you know, we have these arguments of like who's better between Jordan, LeBron, and Kobe, and you like there's different eras, there's so many different parameters, and we never really discussed that. So it's kind of hard to just say this person's my favorite, this person's top of all time, because I might be judging it from a different lens as somebody else, and maybe people don't care. Just tell me who you think your top 5 is. But the reason why it's tough for me is because if I say top 5 people right now, then it seems like I think that those people are the best, you know, versus everybody else.
Well, maybe your favorite. Just your personal favorite that.
I don't even have, like, when people ask me what my favorite food is, I don't have a favorite food, bro. You know, when people ask me what my favorite TV show is, I don't have a favorite TV show. I don't understand like that even way of thinking. I never ever like wrapped around having to put everything in a box. It's just really strange to me.
So you didn't have to, put.
I got people I like.
Yeah.
Now when people say, oh, you listen to albums, I don't know. Now there's all these different songs out there and I can carve whatever I want and take and put, like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I can make the perfect playlist.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why would I be forced to have to listen to the skit? Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Like,
He said the skit.
yeah, the skit's good one time, the first time. After that, I gotta keep on listening to the skit.
Man.
Like, why do we do that to ourselves? I don't know what has trained us to think like this and put everything in a box, but I refuse to be in that box. So that's probably why I hate to answer it. Like, just go back and look at who I am. I'm different. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's why people, that's why you attracted that tribe of people who are attracted to you, for that reason, uniqueness.
Yeah, so I do
what I'm
have people like from the South, Scarface, Bun B, all the usual characters, you know what I'm saying, that I love,
Yeah.
that are just greatness. Bun B's verse on Murder, oh my goodness.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was talking to him earlier today, telling him about that verse. Like, man, I used to repeat that verse over and over. When I think on a tape or something, I used to just play it over and over. Like, man, this rhyming pattern was crazy. I never heard that from the South before. But I mean, people that, people don't even consider as super lyricists, like Tila. I've heard records from him. I'm like, this guy,
Yeah,
people
Tila
that
was
people
hard.
won't even think about. K-Rino, I've heard things from him that's like, man, this boy killing it,
For many projects. Many projects, man. Shouts to K Reno. Glad you brought him up right here on this platform, because that's what we're about. We're about the ones that some people may try to skip over on purpose because they know somebody is elevated with the skill level. K Reno, you know what I'm saying? Straight up.
Yeah,
Mr. Mike, Wicked Ways.
Oh yeah, Mr. Mike, for sure. There's so many, man. There's so many that I just saw different moments in time where they had greatness. Like Luda at one
Yeah.
point had this run where he was just like, every verse he was standing out. Like, it's so many different layers and levels of it that I'm just like, man, it's just too much. I mean, and all the East Coast music I was consuming, I was like, even the West Coast.
Yeah.
Like, the West Coast don't get enough respect and props,
True.
especially when it comes to lyricism.
Come to lyricism.
Are they kidding me? Like, man, I don't know, man. I just think differently than people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's times where I'll be on the road somewhere, bump into a rapper, and they like introduce themselves to me. I'm looking like, you gotta be kidding me. I'll break down everything, the whole discography. And they'll be shocked, like, oh, you look like, yeah, man, what you talking about? Like,
That's
I'm
dope.
a student of the game. Like,
That's
I
dope.
grew up on a lot of it. So I hate like putting up, like, I don't have a favorite basketball player.
Yeah.
I like them all for different reasons. You know what I'm saying? I like a lot of people, and people hate that because the fans be mad at me because they always say, oh, you a fair weather fan. Some
Yeah.
of them think I'm a Lakers fan. I'm like, nah, I'm a fan of greatness, bro. The reason why I could watch this team improve and cheer for either one is because, I might not say Damian Lillard is my favorite player of all time,
Right.
but when Damian Lillard pulls up from the half court and hits that last minute shot and shows me that impossible is possible, oh my goodness. That greatness, I consume that. I walk up through the day with a crazy level of confidence because of what he did. Like, why should I not appreciate that? You know what I'm saying? So I just look at things differently, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I like that, greatness, because greatness is never easy. It's not an easy task. And a lot of people don't want to put the work in that it takes to become great. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So before I wrap up things with you, man, I just want to take it back to, the finances as far as educating people. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, like I said, that's one of the most important things to me. I think that the revolution should be economic for real. And, I listen to people like Dr. Claude Anderson and Boyce Watkins and different, you know what I'm saying? And it don't even matter, Ed Milet, and you know what I'm saying? Like, just different people who speak about, finances, investment. And I listen to you, you know what I mean? You giving me a lot of jewels over the years, just on telephone conversations, you know what I'm saying? What can we give the people, man? What can we give the people who just want to start out investing? Like, what's a simple, way to break it down so they could just really understand that it doesn't take $1 million, you know what I'm saying? Like, what can we give them from you, man, that can encourage the new investor, the new person that wants to get into tech? Like, what do they start? Where do they start?
Yeah, so first I'll say, I used to say this all the time when I was on my promo tours as a rapper, and I'll always talk about, how you gotta learn stuff. And people normally don't wanna hear that because it implies, oh, I gotta do a lot of work, right? So that is the answer to anything. I don't care what anybody else tells you. I don't care about the little 15-second TikTok video telling you otherwise. If you wanna have success, you're gonna have to start the process of learning, right? So when it comes to investing, there are a lot of people that took that leap, got in, and started figuring out just the lay of the land, right? So the easier way to remember this is the 3 L's: learn, live, love. You got to learn first, then you'll be able to live in whatever it is, that ecosystem, and then eventually you'll love what you're doing, you know? It's not gonna be the other way around. You can't love it first without the learn, you know? So to answer your question, now they made it possible for people that are non-accredited, the 99% of the world that never had access to investing, to be able to invest small amounts of capital into companies, startups. A lot of people invest in private companies. A lot of people invest on public companies in the stock market. That's what you hear about most commonly, where people are talking about, oh, they bought some shares of some, you know, company, Facebook, whatever, Snapchat. And, you know, I personally am a private investor, you know. I do, you know, I have a public portfolio too, but I'm a guy that finds great companies like Instagram or something like that early, and then I make a bet on them. The same way, you know, people are trying to find rappers and trying to bet on that rapper to be the next Drake or be the next whoever, you know. I'm a person that finds founders and hears their vision and puts in a little money to potentially see them build something great. And if that happens, the reward I get is great. So the reason why I tell people that I think everybody should be doing some kind of investing is because we spend a lot of money all the time. Society has taught us that we need to buy all these things. You know, you got the Valentine's Day commercials and you go buy all the stuff, Halloween. What is that? You know, like, I don't know, you know, but society gonna tell you to buy all this stuff. And a lot of that stuff does not make us money. But as humans, we like to buy things because we get some kind of immediate value. We buy them rims, everybody see you pull up, you're looking cool. So what we need to do is balance it off, and it's okay to do that, but you gotta be doing something where you're spending some money that could potentially make you some money back, right?
Right.
So the way I describe it is like, I'm planting seeds. I don't know if these companies are gonna grow into trees, right? But in my backyard, I plant a bunch of seeds. One of them might sprout into you know, and not be a tree. It's a dud. All right, cool. The next one might grow, and before you know it, it's a tree and it's got apples, and you got apples in your backyard. All I'm doing is planting a bunch of seeds. So every time I invest in a company, that's what I'm doing. But I'm spending the same amount of money that we waste all the time. I mean, I got a chain on, I got earrings. Like, I could have spent this same amount of money in a company and potentially got a reward. Could have lost it, but could have got a reward too. So I tell everybody start there. There's a great platform called Republic, right? So republic.co is where you can go. You can check it out. There's a lot of startups on there. I personally, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm gonna disclose, I'm an investor in the platform, so that's why I went to that one. But there's a lot of other platforms that you can go to where you can go and you can invest small amounts. I'm talking about $100, $200 in a company, you know? And what else you could do with that money? You could take it and go buy some J's. Or you can start, you know, thinking about the future. And if you get a company that gets acquired by another company, a bigger company, or it goes public, the return that you make on the amount that you invested is high a lot of times. So people that are in the investment space, they get nervous about when I say stuff like that. Oh man, you gotta let people know it's risky. Yeah, I hear that risky stuff all the time. It's risky to try to be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? It's risky to go out there and try to win the lottery and tell all your friends and your friends and scratch the thing off in front of them and tell them you just won $10,000. Like most people never even get that opportunity, but we do that stuff all the time. Right? So when you're talking about something that potentially, even if you lose, you still learn so much about how to teach your family how to fish. There's a reward in it. Even if I would have lost in all my companies, I would still be able to sit here and articulate what I lost about and how I could do it different this time. There's value in that. So I think everybody should be investing in some kind of way. And even, I don't care if you got $100, you done bought something that you shouldn't have bought. Next time, sacrifice. I know it sounds crazy.
It sounds, man, it sounds fucking knowledgeable as hell to me.
I know it sounds crazy to people.
I mean, you know, not taking a risk is risky. You know what I'm saying? Like, not taking a risk is risky, man. I mean, we just got all the jewels, all the game, you know what I'm saying? I know you got in early, I know I was gonna wrap up, but you got in early on some heavyweight companies, man, and you have 60 right now that you're involved in.
60 plus.
60 plus, you know what I'm saying? Give me a couple of names because, like you said earlier, a lot of people, you know, you was already preaching this. You feel me? But they didn't really want to listen. But now that you're doing and succeeding, they're going to listen. But I need them to know, like, give me some names of some of the companies that you know what I'm saying, invested in that turned out great for you.
Yeah, the most common ones that people always bring up is Lyft. They know I'm an investor in Lyft. Ring, doorbell company, which is, you know, a big company.
Ring,
Cruise, which is a self-driving car company. that got
That
acquired.
got bought,
Yeah,
right?
all of them got acquired.
So how much did they buy Crooks for after you already invested in it, then they got acquired?
Yeah, that they bought that company for $1 billion. So
$1 billion. What
yeah,
else?
so but I always got to put this little caveat on it. I know a lot of times when people are hearing these responses, they often think, all right, that's the thing that triggers them to be like, oh, there's something here. There's
Yeah.
money, like
Yeah.
making all this money. But I often stay away from talking about the money side. And
Right.
the reason why is because I think sometimes it could bring the wrong bees to the honey.
Okay.
Like
got
there's
you.
people that's just come because they think that they about to make $10 billion. Like this is a thing that if you get in here and you start to understand how this works, the value that I see
Right.
is I get to see the future. I saw a self-driving car 8-9 years ago. I was sitting in it. I see the shades that Facebook got right now that can record you and you can talk and just,
Right.
with your Ray-Bans on. Like I'm seeing it, I saw it before everybody.
Right.
And that would just open your mind up about what's possible. I see the company Appeal that is making invisible extract that makes the fruit last longer. So that banana that you sit on your couch, you sit on your counter that decays after 3 or 4 days now lasts, 7, 8, 14
Right.
days.
Right.
Like what? Like
Amazing.
if I tell you the companies that's in my mind right
That's
now, like
amazing.
most people don't even understand that this stuff exists, and that innovation, that type of stuff will just unlock so much on you.
How many hours did you put into learning about, investment and stuff? You did an internship or something, I heard?
I did entrepreneur in residency at Upfront Ventures, which is one of the largest early stage VC funds or venture capital funds
Yeah.
in Southern Cali. So the thing about it is people watch Shark Tank, right?
Right.
And you watch them people come in and try to ask for money. So I was in a room with guys that every day people would come in and ask them for money. I saw who got the money, who didn't get the money, and it was like 5 million here, 3 million here, 10 million here, and I'm just like watching it every day. I get to see who made the mistakes, who did what, but then that's how I saw companies like, Ring. I remember when it was damn near a doorknob. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you start to see and have access to things that you could sit around and do nothing, or you could be like, man, I gotta put some money in this. Because when that founder is pitching and he's telling you what the future's about to look like, and you believe the future's really gonna look like that, what you gonna do? You gonna sit back? Or you gonna be like, man, I'm gonna spend what I can afford to lose? And a lot of times that's how I started. I would spend what I afford to lose.
Yeah.
The same junk I'll go pay jewelry on, and then the return is like, what? Like go ask a record label for advance?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm gonna do this because this is like life-changing type stuff. So, people often want me to talk about how much I make. You ain't never gonna hear me ever talk about how much I make. I didn't do it in the music industry. I'm not gonna do it in this industry because I think it creates just this vanity kind of excitement for people. Like at the end of the day, just know it's people over here that's doing far better than rappers.
Right.
There's people over here that when I'm sitting courtside and you see us all sitting courtside, it's a lot of people that's sitting there. They all investors. Every single one of them people I know. None of them look like me. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. Sometimes people see me there and they say, man, I need to be like him because I finally saw him sitting courtside. I got to get into this tech. Now tech matters because you saw me sitting courtside, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is that if I would have never, ever got involved in tech, right, I still would be able to sit courtside.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I was pretty savvy with my business deals. I
Right.
still get royalties, publishing, all that.
Right.
So I could afford the courtside seat.
Right.
It's just that there's a reason for me to go there now. Remember, this is Silicon Valley. People think I'm in Silicon Valley. I'm not even in Silicon Valley.
Right.
I never have been in Silicon Valley. That's a myth that everybody says out there, but I just don't correct it because it's like, if they think that, if that leads them to understand about tech, so be it. I actually went to LA. They would see me in Silicon Valley because I would get on a plane and go to the games with E40 and then get on a plane and go right back. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why we there is we rubbing shoulders with some people we learning some things and getting in some rooms that people can't get into,
Man, that's just dope, my brother, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Information and relationships, you know what I mean? You got a few acronyms that resonate with me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just been a great conversation, man. I thank you for coming by Crooks Corner, man. And, anytime, bro. The door is always open to you. The information that you give is incredible. There's a lot to digest, and I want y'all to digest it. I don't want y'all to just skip by the best parts and, go in the comments and leave, the 3-minute mark, he says this. No, look at this entire interview, please. Share with your friends. this is what hip hop was built on, information. You know what I mean? And this is what it is. And we just got it from the man himself, Chamillionaire, you know what I mean? Chamillionaire. Thank you for coming by. You know what I'm saying? Crooks Corner, we signing off. Please subscribe. We on the new channel. We in the new space, you know what I mean? And we got way more coming for y'all. Y'all already know. Shouts out to the rap connoisseurs. I see y'all. Salute. Catch y'all next time. Peace.
Let's get it.